Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're decoding a massive shift in how corporate entities in the managed care sector are being forced to report on the safety of your most sensitive medical information. We hand over incredibly private details of our lives to health insurers and managed care organizations all the time, right? But how do we actually know they're keeping it safe? Well, the era of just taking their word for it, that's officially over. It really starts with a simple yet kind of terrifying question. Do you actually know who is grading your health insurer's data security? We hear about medical data theft on the news constantly, but a lot of us don't realize that your health data is a highly regulated asset. It's heavily scrutinized by investors and regulators who want to know exactly how vulnerable these massive organizations are to cyber attacks or internal leaks. But to measure that vulnerability, we need a universal grading scale.
So, to fix this huge transparency problem, in steps the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, or SASB, which is now under the stewardship of the International Sustainability Standards Board, the ISSB. These organizations have laid down strict industry standards that demand radical, absolute accountability from healthcare organizations. They've basically written a rulebook that turns vague corporate promises about valuing your privacy into hard, auditable data.
Here is our roadmap of accountability for today. 1. SASB Accountability Standards. 2. Pillar 1. Securing your data. 3. Pillar 2. Tracking the breaches. And 4. Pillar 3. The financial fallout. Let's get right into it. Section 1. SASB Accountability Standards. So what exactly does this regulatory framework demand? It all boils down to a very specific set of metrics designed for the managed care industry. If you look at the topic for Customer Privacy and Technology Standards, you'll find a specific code, HCMC 230A. This code right here is the backbone of our explainer today. It dictates exactly what companies absolutely must disclose regarding their privacy and technology practices. And it's broken down into 3 submetrics, which align perfectly with the 3 pillars we're about to explore. Pillar 1, securing your data. This first pillar is all about the baseline preparation phase. Under metric HCMC 230A.1, managed care entities can't just wave their hands and say, oh yeah, we use secure servers. No way. What's fascinating is that the standard specifically requires companies to describe their entire information lifecycle. It's not just about keeping hackers out. It's about what the company does with your data internally. They have to detail, step 1, how they collect it, including what requires your consent. Step 2, how they use it, and exactly when they share, sell, or rent it to third parties. Step 3, how long they retain it. And finally, step 4, their secure destruction methods for both paper and electronic records once that data is no longer needed. And to actually guarantee this life cycle is protected, entities have to implement and describe 3 strict categories of system security. First up, administrative safeguards. These are the formal policies managing staff conduct. It's the human element. Second, physical safeguards. Literally protecting the physical computer systems and buildings from hazards or someone just walking in. And third, technical safeguards, the digital locks, like authenticating users and enforcing strict access control. Now, here's a kind of funny but totally necessary detail. The specific version of the standard officially becomes effective for annual periods beginning in January 2025. But the text explicitly notes that early adoption is permitted, which is a huge relief, right? Because hackers definitely aren't waiting around until 2025 to steal your data. Forward-thinking managed care entities are adopting these rigorous standards right now to prove their resilience. Pillar 2, tracking the breaches. Now let's see how this builds into the reality check of the framework. Because let's be real, despite the absolute best safeguards, walls get breached. But before a company can report a breach under metric HCMC 230A.2, they need to know what it is. The standard clearly defines a data breach as an unauthorized occurrence that jeopardizes the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the system. This strict definition means companies cannot hide behind fluffy PR terms like security incident or data anomaly. If an unauthorized occurrence jeopardizes the info, it is a breach, and it must be counting. There's a super important distinction the standard forces companies to make here. They have to differentiate between general, personal data, which is any information relating to an identifiable person, like a name or email, and highly sensitive personal health data. Personal health data reveals information about your actual physical or mental health status and the treatments you've received. They are not treated as the same thing at all, and the reporting has to reflect that severity. Because of that split, instead of hiding behind a single, terrifyingly large number, the standard demands precise, quantitative breach disclosures. Companies have to disclose the total number of data breaches, then they break down the percentages. How many involved only personal data, and how many expose that hypersensitive personal health data. They also have to tell us exactly how many unique customers were affected in each category. And they can't just drop the bad news and run. They are absolutely required to describe the corrective actions they've implemented to stop it from happening again. Pillar 3, the financial fallout.
Which brings us to the financial sting of failing to protect patients. Metric HC MC 238.3 requires entities to report the total amount of monetary losses resulting from legal proceedings tied to data security and privacy. But here is the most brilliant part of this accounting rule. When reporting these losses, entities must include all monetary liabilities to opposing parties, things like fines, settlements, and judgments. However, they are strictly forbidden from including their own legal fees and defense expenses in this number. This stops companies from artificially inflating or diluting the actual penalty metric with their massive corporate lawyer bills. We get to see the pure, unadulterated cost of the penalty itself.
And just like with the breaches, just tossing a dollar amount on a page isn't enough. Context is everything here. Companies have to provide the narrative behind the loss. They have to describe the nature of it. Was it a guilty plea, a settlement, a regulatory fine? And they have to explain the context. Was this the result of a crazy, sophisticated state-sponsored cyber attack, or was it just an employee error where someone left an unlocked laptop on a train? And once again, they must prove they are actively fixing the vulnerabilities by detailing the corrective actions taken because of those monetary losses.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, seeing all these incredibly strict reporting requirements laid out today leaves us with a pretty provocative question. Now that these corporate managed care giants are being forced into this transparent framework of accountability, where they must lay bare their exact policies, their specific breach numbers for health data, and their true financial penalties, will publicizing these hard truths be the ultimate catalyst for real, impenetrable data security? Well, only time and the upcoming accounting cycles will tell. Thanks for learning with me today, and I hope this deeper look at the data behind the data helps you understand the true value of your privacy.